Hey, what's up, my friends? John Hidley here with the Tactical Dent YouTube channel and also the Tactical Dent Tech Facebook group. We've got a deep little dent right there in the cab corner on a flat but kind of rounded surface, and it is edging into the actual edge. Now, this is what is going to make this repair challenging, is that not only is it in a very small area to get a glue tab to bite down, but there is also no access to the back side of this. So we are going to be doing a full glue pull training. Now, what you've seen there was me put a little bit of 99% alcohol, and now you see me torching that area. And listen, this isn't to look cool, and it's definitely not to scare any of my clients away, but that is actually to get the moisture out of the panel. It's very quick. Never in all my years of doing this have I burnt the paint. Okay, we're going to be using this glue tab right here. That is a Robo Tab, and the type of glue that I'm using there is called Pink Snappy from Anson PDR Tools. Now, this is the largest tab, the largest round tab. And so I'm going to put that right in the middle. Now, interesting enough, you're about ready to see my pull here in a minute. And I'm just checking right now. You see me kind of twisting the tab. Well, once that thing is nice and tightened up, I can take my mini lifter in there and snap it up. All right, so we're going to remove the glue with the 99% alcohol. If you guys want to get some of this, just put it in Amazon.com, easiest place to get it. Now, what you're seeing here is if you went back and you've seen where I laid that tab, it is not pulling the direct center. And one of the reasons why is that the edge of the dent is on the door jamb edge. And follow me, because I'm going to show you guys really how to work this particular scenario. And I think some of you might have learn some interesting things on the way that I'm going to approach this that maybe you didn't know before. So there's going to be some nice techniques revealed during this process. Now, what you've seen me use there was Anson PDR Tools. They've got a pink, originally the pushing, that knockdown that I used there previously, but it is a pink tip there that is very good for knocking down quickly. And so I didn't use a traditional knockdown at this point, because the pull that I took just kind of swelled up to the left side. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Look at the center. Look where the center of my tab is, because that is actually where, when you drop a glue tab, it's supposed to pull. So here we go. Snap it up. And you can kind of see it pulled to the left of where I dropped that glue tab. And that is because the pressure, the depth of the dent that's right there on the edge of that panel. So it's going to off-center pull just because of where the dent's located. And now the thing is, y'all, this could happen on a door just because maybe there is glue glued above or below. There's a brace that's glued above or below your glue pull. So there's all kinds of dynamics that could make this happen. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I am going to tap on the inside of this door jamb. And if I tapped hard enough, I could actually rock a high spot out right here on that edge. But the key is that you tap enough to send the pressure of the edge into that dent, but you do not want to divot or dent the door jamb, because that would defeat the purpose, and it would be incredibly hard to get that out once you move the door jamb metal further to the left. But this is one of the things that really opens up. You can kind of see how it's swelled up a little bit. If you go back right there, you'll see how that edge, instead of being dented, kind of swelled up on there. So I'm trying to take the pressure off that edge. Any dent technician knows that if you tap on an edge like that, it actually creates a high spot on the flat surface. That 90-degree angle, it will create a high spot on the flat surface next to it. Okay, so we're still glue pulling with, this is the PDR outlet mini lifter. Incredibly durable. Okay, so a little bit better. We were able to get a pull a little bit closer to the center, but there's still a low in there. Now, I wanted you guys to get a look further back. If you notice now, I've got my light lined up with that on the inside of the door jamb. And this is a little bit of a trick here, because you can actually get your light behind the dent much nicer if you're inside the vehicle, inside that door jamb. Now, you can't get it further back, but this has given me a great visual, just an awesome view of the damage. Okay, here we go. We're going to be tapping again, laying a glue tab. I want to give you a nice little front view of what I'm doing here. Now, this is the type of thing that you might see with hail damage. And it doesn't have to be in this particular area. It could be further up the panel. Anytime you tap on a door jamb edge, all the way up that panel, you're going to be able to send the metal into that damage just by tapping the edge. There we go, took a pull. And you're going to see that because I'm going to keep going back and forth between knocking down and then jumping in there and tapping that edge a little bit. Now, this is something that you can do on rails as well. So as you go up that cab corner, you start to get into the rail. You can do it on quarter panels of cars. You can even do it back if you take out the taillight of a car. You see me working that edge now? Just working that edge now. Now I'm using the nylon knockdown, the plastic knockdown. And so if you can't pull that edge, you got to keep working that edge. And little by little, you can see it start to swell to the center. I'm using the pressure of my pulls, and anybody knows who does glue pulling, this is a hard glue pull here. The depth of it, the location of it, the just that it's stiff. The metal, the panel is so stiff and strong right here. Then we'll go ahead and tighten it up, snap it. But little by little, as I work the glue pulls, relieving pressure from the center of the dent, little by little, making it much more shallow. See, you got a little bit better of a pull there. So I'm almost getting to the point to where I can get a high spot in the exact center. I mean, if you look at this originally, back at the beginning, much bigger, much deeper dent. So because I know that we're going in the right direction, it is getting smaller and much more shallow each and every pull. And that's the key. So now I'm going to go in with a big boy. I'm just tired of waiting. And so I'm going to go ahead and stick an Atlas Titan on there. And I'm just going to see if I can overpull the center of this dent. And so at this point, I'll back you out here because I'm hooking on a slide hammer. And it's, you can't even really fit a lifter. I don't know if you noticed, but the top of these tabs are much different. And the actual stem that I'm grabbing right there is even longer. And just the tab in general is taller. And so it's hard to use a mini lifter with these. I mean, unless you got to pass through. And it's got the Black Plague feet on it, a Robo lifter. But here we go. Nice pull. Nice pull. You're going to find that it's much harder. I mean, you guys have seen me stick these Atlas Titans on panels, and they will literally pull a house off its foundation. And I put it in this little area right here, and it barely bites. But at least it gives us enough of a pull that I'm actually going to be able to go in there and do some decent knockdown work. So you can see right here. And I'm just kind of guiding down there past it. You can see how much smaller it got on that round with that pull with that Atlas Titan. So here we go, and you can see the center of the deepest part on the edge right there is completely swelling into the middle. So the beautiful thing about this is the edge has came out. We were able to finally lift the dent off that edge with the Atlas Titan. And I'm going to go in now back with our quarter size Robo Tab. That's my little twist right there. I don't know if you guys see that. It's like, imagine twisting a steering wheel, trying to see, how tight it is. Look at that. Beautiful. Finally pulled center after all these pulls. And so, this right here is a dent technician's dream come true. We finally got the center inside out, because at this point, I can actually control the damage from the top. And I've always told people, you will finish more dents with your knockdown. Now, of course, if you're doing hail, there's times you don't even touch your knockdown. I'm just going to be honest. Light hail, stuff like that, you might not even... There's one time I was fixing a hail-damaged roof, and I looked over and realized my knockdown was, over there on the other panel I was working on, and I almost had the roof finished before I needed it. But damage like this, if that you're glue pulling, you're going to be finishing it with your knockdown a lot. Now you can see just doing some nice knockdown work. That's actually the sharpest peak plastic knockdown. Peak plastic is incredibly good. In fact, you got to be careful. There's certain paints that it could even divot because of how strong it is. And in that case, I don't really know what kind of plastic it is, but I use the black, the old school black plastic knockdown. Okay, so you've seen that we had a little tiny low in there, and now I'm putting that tab in there to get that out, just the last little bit of that little tiny low. And even here, you guys have heard me preach, just take as much as you need. But in this particular location, with as tight and as little as those little lows were, I'm going to take that same snap that I've been taking this entire time. It's quick and easy to knock down. And so I'm going to take advantage of our situation that we finally loosened up the edge. Look at that. See, that's even more beautiful of a symmetrical high spot, where, it doesn't have any little dots around it or any lows that it's carrying up on the edge. And then you can see me going back in with that peak knockdown. And what's so precise about this, you don't want to use a big knockdown at this stage because, right there, you do not want to use a big knockdown at this stage simply because it'll take down too much metal. It'll redent it. So you use a very sharp knockdown at this stage of the game. And you guys can tell I'm picky because there wasn't much there to begin with, but I'm wet sanding it. I mean, it took a lot of pulls. And I'm going to get out that last little flicker or that last little piece of orange peel. And, I like to call this 2,000 grit sandpaper used 2,000 times. So this is very light. I barely take off any clear with this. And then now on this one, I'm using the Milwaukee buffer. And the pad that I'm using here is meant for cutting. So this is a cutting pad, and I'm using that to use the cutting compound to get in there. Now this has been a little while since I've done this repair, so I was still using this Milwaukee buffer. Nowadays I use the Flex or even the Rupes, but this is perfectly fine. I still own this tool. Don't use it as often, but it's definitely good when it's needed. All right, getting her all wiped down. And I don't show it in every video, but I always do 2 to 3 steps depending on the paint finish and how far I had to go with actual sanding. All right, getting all cleared up there. And we are about ready to show the finished product here in a moment. So so I'm going to go in and show you the black pad in this particular case is the polishing pad. And so this is back when I was using 3M products. I prefer Chevy now, but 3M products will definitely get you by. And so, but that's the old school. They have a 3-step polishing, kind of like Chevy or Rupes products. And I've got both. I'm going to be honest, I've got both. And I've got a bunch of this 3M still in my cabinet, but I just don't use it anymore because I think there's something better. And there you go, my friends. There you have it, all finished up. I took a bunch of after videos, so I'm just going to kind of run some of them through here. And I appreciate you guys for coming along on this training today. If you got any questions, put it down there on YouTube. I try my best to respond. We are incredibly busy, but appreciate you guys. And as usual, I'll see you on the next one.